Assalamu alaikum and good morning. I am Dr. Shakil, uh, presenting today's General Club meeting about the prostate cancer, how to diagnose and stage. About the prostate cancer, a prostate gland. It's a exocrine gland of male reproductive system, walnut size, normal gland, located between bladder and penis and anterior to the rectum. Approximately volume of the normal gland is 25 ml or weighs around 7 to 11 grams. Prostate secretes fluids that nourish the and protect the sperms. So in our clinic, we usually come across three kind of patients associated with prostate disease, prostatitis, inflammation of the prostate or infection of the prostate associated with UTI, and benign prostate hypertrophy. A patient with more than 40 years of age comes up with the presentation of benign prostate hypertrophy and carcinoma of prostate. So these are the zones of the prostate for usually anterior zone and transitional zone, central zone, and peripheral zone. With reference to the CA prostate, the most common zone which carries the CA prostate or CA prostate is most common in the peripheral zone, and then transitional and then central zone. And the transitional zone is a zone which usually carries patients with benign prostate hypertrophy. So how patient at early stage are usually asymptomatic. So maybe patient present with no symptoms at the time of presentation, or maybe a patient comes with a locally advanced disease with same symptoms which we usually see in the benign prostate hypertrophy. With local advanced disease, patients present with almost same as of benign prostate hyperplasia, like incomplete emptying, frequency, urgency, intermittency, weak stream, straining nocturia. So most of the patient diagnosed early stage due to early presentation and advanced diagnostic tools. In advanced disease, patient can present with obstructive symptoms like ureteric obstruction, hemospermia, decreased ejaculation volume, generalized bone pain in metastatic disease at the time of presentation. So once the patient has a metastatic disease at the time of presentation, patient can present with the symptoms of those of benign prostate hyperplasia, obstructive symptoms, and with same bone pain or generalized body pain. So about the screening of the patients as early as 40 years for the patients with background positive history of CA prostate, black race, and serum PSA and DRE can be done at the 40 years of age. But if the patient don't have the previous history, family history of CA prostate or other associated symptoms, can be, if screening can be done, it can be done after 45 or 50 years of age. Then a risk adaptive approach is also considered with reference to serum PSA level at the different age and with reference to its value according to age and baseline serum PSA. So serum PSA can vary with age, and it can be stratified with the serum PSA baseline value after cultures negative, and we can also consider the patients for the screening after 2 years or 4 years according to the baseline PSA. So first serum PSA can be done at the age of 40 to 45, 45 those patients who don't have the previous history or family history of CA prostate. So DRE and serum PSA for clinical diagnosis, these are the most authentic and first line diagnostic tool we usually use in the suspected patients for CA prostate or in screening tools. So about the DRE, before the era of serum PSA, digital radical examination was relied to be the base of prostate cancer detection. Findings exclude, we usually see in the DRE, we usually see the external examination for any tag, skin tag, or any mass or fissure to avoid any further DRE. Then anal tone, muscle tone, prostate size can be roughly measured for a mild, moderate, or severe. Or then prostate tender on palpation. Patient, we usually see the does the patient have a tender prostate on palpation or DRE, which can be associated with the prostatitis, and mucosa mobility and margins. So usually mobile mucosa and normal and margins can be seen, but in case of locally advanced disease or any nodule in the prostate, the mucosa may be adherent or fixed, and margins can be, we can feel a nodule, and consistency normally firms, and in case of CA prostate or any nodule, it can be hard. Sir, we usually see when we put the finger inside the anus, then we proximal, middle and digital जो आपकी fingers हैं इसके डिजिटल एग्जामिनेशन पे अगर आप proximal आप टच करते हैं तो मोस्ट लाइकली इट्स माइल्ड, अपर लिमिट ऑफ prostate अगर आप रीच कर लेते हैं most likely it's mild, and then if you cannot reach the upper limit, then it can be considered as moderate or severe enlargement of the prostate. So guidelines for the screening and early detection, we usually recommendations include do not subject men to prostate suspect antigen testing without counseling them or potential risk of benefits. So patients should be counseling about the potential risk of a PSA screening and then benefits according to suspicious of the disease. Often individual risk adaptive strategy early detection to age well informed men and life expectancy at least 10 to 15 years. Those patients who have the life expectancy more than 10 to 15 years should be considered for the risk stratification or PSA and screening. Those patients who do not have such a life expectancy can be excluded from the screening list. And then offer early PSA testing to well-informed men at elevated risk of CA prostate, men who have aged more than 50 years, men who have 45 years of age, a family history of CA prostate, and African descent, and men carrying BRCA2 mutations at the age of 40 years. Offer risk adaptive strategy based on initial PSA level with follow-up of 2 years, 6 years, and 8 years. Men with PSA of more than 1 nanogram per ml at 40 years of age, and men with PSA 2 nanogram ml at 60 years of age, and you can postpone the screening for 6 to 8 years.
हम जब पीएसए करते हैं हम तो काउंसलिंग नहीं करते हैं, हमारे रूटीन्स में शामिल नहीं है।
वो यूजुअली
तो पहली चीज़ वही है कि भाई यू शुड काउंसल देम, डोंट डू पीएसए विदाउट काउंसलिंग देम।
So serum PSA is produced by epithelial layers of the prostate gland and can present in both free and bound state. In 1994, FDA approved serum PSA for clinical diagnosis of CA prostate. A breach in normal architecture can lead to high PSA and severe. In serum that can we usually see in the CA prostate, serum levels of PSA vary with age, race, prostate volume, and increase in CM prostate. So patient with age and volume of the more the volume of the prostate can have the increased level of serum PSA. Serum PSA is based of early clinical diagnosis of CA prostate and surveillance. It may be elevated in benign prostate hyperplasia and prostatitis and other non-malignant conditions also. It has also more weight in prediction of cancer than either DRE or TRUS. So DR and TRUS findings can be seen, but the serum PSA has a more value in the diagnosis of the CA prostate. Normal value is taken up to 2.5 or 3 nanogram ml. So risk of prostate cancer in relation to low serum PSA values, the time of first PSA or baseline PSA, if the PSA level is 0.5 nanogram per ml, the risk of serum prostate cancer is 6.6, and ranging from 0.6 to 1, its risk is 10%, and ranging from 1 to 2 is 17%, ranging from 2.1 to 3 nanogram per ml, the risk of CA prostate is 23%, and if it is more than 3 and up to 4, its risk of CA prostate is 26%.
So the PSA value, it's not necessary to have a PSA of more than 10 or more than 4 in all the cases. Even with the PSA of 1, the patient can have a prostate cancer. So previously in many definitions we see that the patient who had a PSA of less than 4 be considered as normal. But nowadays its definition has been changed. In a UK practice they decrease it to 2.5 nowadays, because there is a 3 to 6% chances of having prostate cancer in those patients who has the PSA of 2.5 to 4 even. So incidental prostate cancer has been found in many patients who has undergone TURP or open prostatectomy for a benign disease, but they have found prostate cancer on a histopathology.
And also age is important in this. As
Age.
the age increases, the chances of prostate cancer increases.
So it's a all clinical judgment with DRG and the
Khalil, you
PSA.
are right that initially when we started our prostate clinic, and I still remember that we take value of PSA of 10 as a cutoff for subjecting them to biopsy.
Yeah.
But probably now the subjecting to biopsy, I think, I don't know, you do the prostate clinic. What are our protocol for biopsy?
We usually do prostate biopsy in patients who had more than 10. It's straightforward. But
Why?
But all those patients who had the PSA of 4 to 10, then we keep them on a gray area,
Okay,
and
so
then
you
we evaluate
actually
further.
kept them on surveillance.
Yes. Then we'll go for the biopsy.
But here are 26% chances of carcinoma
Yeah.
when PSA is between 3.
So we
And
kept
four.
we have done many biopsies in those patients who has between the PSA of 4 to 10. So we usually give them antibiotics for a week empirically, and then we repeat the PSA. If the PSA remains the same or it elevated, then we go for the biopsy. If it decreased to a significant value, if the previously it was 8 and now it becomes 4 or 5, then we usually keep on surveillance.
And do you perform PSA ratio or
Yeah. But
PSA density?
PSA density
formula.
and then
When there is it is suspected, but PSA level is not about 10 or.
yeah, when it's in a gray area, we usually go for the PSA density and then decide for whether. But we usually, even if the PSA density is high and then there are chances of having carcinoma, we give them antibiotics at least first, then repeat the biopsy if it's elevated.
You are right that because in Pakistan we are a developing nation, so we cannot subject we cannot subject PSA as a screening test. So we have to pick those patients who actually have you say that when they are you are suspecting that they may have clinical signs of prostate cancer, because it's an expensive test and we cannot use as a screening tool, especially in Pakistan, or because in private I think it costs about more than 2,000, and even if we are doing in a public sector hospital, it also costs I don't know, but still the cost is the issue in prostate cancer. That's why even the American, there is still a debate that they don't do or some of them don't in the favor of doing PSA cancer for PSA for screening.
Usually what we see in our clinic, that if the PSA is more than 10 and we go for the biopsy, usually it's in a high risk patients. So the glycine grade is 4+4 or 4+5 or 5+5. In around 70 to 80% of the patient has a high grade disease. So we lose these patients that have a low grade disease even. So if we screen the patient who had a PSA of 4 or 5 and they have not have the symptoms, then if we screen them, then we can find the disease who is even say 3+3, 6 or 3+4. So the early detection is still debatable topic, that whether we should go for the general population screening or not. We usually screen all those patients who come to our clinic with some symptoms, whether they have a benign or the carcinoma.
So we cannot say that it is screening. Basically, we are tertiary care center, so only symptomatic patients come to our clinic. So it's not any screening.
Yeah.
Rather, it's just the symptomatic cohort which is actually consulting our clinic. So we are not doing screening in general population, and I think that we can't do this because the cost is the major issue.
But now in our clinic, that even all the patient has been screened for PSA with a PSA. So do we call them screening in a our situation or not?
It's not screening. It's rather you can say it's for diagnosis, because only symptomatic patient come to the clinic, and you actually your intention is to diagnose them whether they have increased PSA, so that you can decide for biopsy. It's not screening. क्यों मुरली साहब?
मेरा भी ख्याल है स्क्रीनिंग तो it's carried out in population. There are no symptoms and you want to perform it, but you get patients with symptoms. And you're right, if age is more than 70, then usually we do not perform PSAs.
Yeah.
And if age is 50 to 70, then you usually go for PSAs. So I think we will not say it screening,
yeah.
but they are coming to clinic with symptoms
Then
of prostate, and then you want to exclude CA prostate in this population. In some of them, there are findings on DREs, and some have family history, but you want to diagnose CA prostate in patients who are coming with symptoms. Dr. Shaukat, कुछ कहना चाह रहे थे?
जी sir, I think with the level of serum PSA, the findings of DRE and age of the patients are important before proceeding to the biopsy, because we have seen lots of patients when the PSA is raised and DRE findings are suspicious of prostate cancer. The biopsy have come up with the malignancy. Most of the cases we have seen in our clinic, when the DRE is suspicious of malignancy, the biopsy have come up with the adenocarcinoma or CA prostate.
Yeah, you are right. So Rashid, what are the causes of raised PSA apart from this carcinoma of prostate? Are there any other condition that raise the PSA?
Any trauma to the prostate, like inflammation, any instrumentation like catheterization, any infection like UTI, they cause increasing PSA level. But like the basic thing is that in carcinoma, basically PSA production is not increased, because in proteolytic passage is not PSA not passed to the proteolytic passage, and this way basically PSA increase and CA prostate.
So yes, anything else, Halimullah? Can you add something? The condition that leads to a raised PSA. Yeah.
Trauma to a prostate, like infection in the prostate can raise the PSA level.
So does size matters or not?
No, size.
If someone has got a prostate volume of 300, then would there be a PSA raised or not in these patients?
No, size does not matter. It is the hardness, firm hard consistency.
So it's also one of the factor that. Yeah. Okay. Yes, proceed.
So increasing or decreasing factors already discussed. So prostatic massage can increase serum PSA, TRUS guided ultrasound if done, and early PSA can be increased. Prostate biopsy, after prostate biopsy can be increased. Any intervention, cystourethroskopy, Foley's catheterization, or intercourse can increase PSA. So, and decreasing factors can be drugs used for benign prostate hyperplasia can have the decreased PSA. Post TURP, because the volume of the prostate has been decreased after TURP, can have the decreased serum PSA. Medical treatment is already discussed, orchidectomy and radical therapy and radical prostatectomy. In radical prostatectomy, whole of the prostate has been removed, so the serum PSA usually comes down. So the PSA test, why results can be confusing. PSA test measures amount of PSA molecules in patient's blood. So it's normal for all men to have some PSA in the blood. So PSA should be in the blood in patients who have the CA prostate or the enlarged prostate or whatever. And a high level of PSA can be a sign of prostate cancer, but urinary tract infection, strenuous exercise, and some medication, prostate inflammation already discussed, and can increase serum PSA. So after these conditions, serum PSA can be repeated. After if there is a UTI, you can treat UTI, and if urine culture comes negative, then you can repeat the serum PSA to have actual serum PSA level. And as Dr. Khalek already discussed, we usually give the empirical antibiotic to the patient with increased PSA, and we repeat PSA after the antibiotic and see if it is decreased or still raised. So serum PSA density, we usually calculate PSA density, prostate space antigen density is the level of serum PSA divided by prostate volume. So volume is important already. If a patient have a volume of 25 ml and patients have a volume of 100 ml and same PSA, so it is different. The higher the PSA density, the more likely it is that the prostate cancer is clinically significant, and normal value is less than 0.15 nanogram per ml. Stages of CA prostate. Staging is mandatory for risk stratification to calculate pre-treatment parameters for the treatment and prognosis of the disease. Parameters used for the staging include TRE, TRUS, PSA, prostate biopsy, MRI, and pelvic lymph node biopsy. So clinical and pathological staging. Clinical staging is the assessment of the disease extent using parameters as DRE, PSA level, needle biopsy findings, and MRI findings. And pathological staging is done after prostatectomy and histological assessment of the prostate, seminal vesicles, and lymph node biopsy if applicable. So pathological staging is more accurate estimate of disease burden and predict outcome.
हमारा पहले करना चाहिए बायोप्सी को या बायोप्सी के बाद?
Sir, we can do MRI early in patients. We usually don't see any nodule or mass on ultrasound. So MRI can detect those lesions which we usually miss on DRE and TRUS. And if the MRI pick up the same nodule or small nodule which is missed on TRUS, we can target this nodule on biopsy. So MRI and biopsy, before biopsy can be done, which have the increase, we can help in the TRUS guided biopsy. So we can target those lobe or those targeted biopsy nodule, so which can give positive. And if you are going without MRI, we can miss the nodule during conventional biopsy, and biopsy can be negative, but there is a CA prostate inside the prostate.
What is our practice
So
nowadays?
what's the rationale behind why we go for the MRI first or the biopsy first? It's also a debatable thing that some people do MRI first and some people do biopsy first. What's the rationale behind?
It should be done before the biopsy, and two ways it is better to be done, because one is there might be
Mike.
because when you do biopsy before MRI, it may show an artifact which we can think of a lesion. And the second thing is that if you see a lesion which was missed on DRE or any nodule like Dr. Shakil were mentioning, then you can do MRI, and MRI guided targeted biopsy you can do as well.
Anything else?
But sir, problem in our setup is most of the patient we are dealing are in gray zone. Like their normal DREs with slightly raised PSA. Though we are not sure about it, and the biopsies we are seeing in our prostate clinic, we can roughly say that around 40-50% came out to be adenocarcinoma, while the rest of them are normal as well. So in those patients, are we going to do MRI as a first modality and then go for TRUS?
What's the reason behind why we go for MRI first? Why
So
not?
MRI first to basically as Dr. Shakil and Dr. Shaukat said, to target those areas which can produce or which can yield a better outcome, like we can diagnose adenocarcinoma or thing like this.
Patient with increased serum PSA but plumb normal DRE and TRUS, and there is still suspicious of any nodule, we can do MRI to find out where is the nodule, and small nodule can be picked on the MRI.
So if in that patient an MRI shows that there is a hypertrophy or something like this, but there is no any particular area which has a higher density or thing like that, then again we have to do the biopsy.
So what we do in our clinic, that the TRUS is the first baseline investigation that
Yes.
told us, but it's not very specific for a lesion. So we usually do TRUS, then we go for the biopsy, and after the biopsy we decide for MRI whether to go. But the major disadvantage for this having biopsy first and then MRI is you need to wait for 6 weeks to have an MRI. So if you go for the trus biopsy and do MRI on the next week, then there will be artifact. So you will not be able to find and stage the disease in a better way. That's the reason. Yes, sir. बोले सर कुछ कह रहे थे आप?
यानी यही है कि ये भी डिबेटेबल है, बीच बीच में हम चेंज करते रहे इन ओपीडी में, एमआरआई पहले फिर बायोप्सी, फिर वो चलता नहीं, बिकॉज देन यू हैव टू परफॉर्म मैनी एमआरआईज एंड देन रेडियोलॉजी पीपल यूज्ड टू
it's very difficult to convince them for a MRI in many patients.
I don't know what to do, but in our clinic as well, sometimes when you need patients for radical prostatectomy and we didn't get patient, then we decided to go for MRI first and then go for biopsy. So we did in some cases, but it is not routine. So
yes, ये जैसे खालिक ने बोला, still it is debatable, but in bladder cancer there is a shift of thinking that now if we find a lesion on ultrasound in case of bladder tumor, we first go for CT or MRI rather resecting it, because resection can actually give a false impression. If we go to the report, the stage may be changed, which is a false impression. But in prostate cancer, still it's debatable. And if we talk about our setup, again the cost is an issue, and MRI is not an easy test. Patient has to lie in that area for about 30 minutes or 40 minutes, and many patients don't like this test. So we have to see, we have to do those things which are compatible with our population and our setup. So we still do, as Khalik said, that we first do PSA. If PSA is high, then we go for biopsy, and then we plan according to what is the result of the biopsy, what is the grade, what is the score, and then we decide. Still, it's our practice.
And even we don't go for the MRI in all the patients who are positive for the prostate cancer. All those patients who we think that
we first do, if the PSA is very high, if it's more than 20, we directly go for bone scan. If his bone scan is positive, then it's no point or no use of MRI, because it's a distant metastasis. We don't need MRI. MRI is usually required for the decision for radical surgery or radiation. If it's a metastasis, then there is no use of doing MRI.
At the same time, the sensitivity and specificity are almost same for CT and MRI in the case of prostate cancer. If you are doing CT scan, at the same time you are looking for metastasis or further staging of the disease. You do MRI, you can do the local staging, but you can't see the metastasis.
Yes, you are right. But if I am talking, if the bone scan is positive, will you still go for CT scan chest or?
No, it's not needed. If bone scan is positive, it means
I
it
was
is
talking
metastatic.
about in that scenario when the bone scan is positive.
Yes, sir.
Yes, proceed.
So staging of the prostate tumor, we can stage on the DR examination into T1, T2, T3 and T4, and upon DR and other findings. So T1 is a clinically inappropriate tumor, and that is not palpable, and T1A is tumor indicate incidental histological findings 5% or less of the tissues resected, and T1B is tissue resected which have the more than 5% of the tumor, and TC is tumor identified on needle biopsy, and then T2 is a tumor which is palpable and confined with the prostate, within the prostate, and T2A further divides into T2A tumor involves one lobe of the less, half lobe of the less, and T2B is involves more than one lobe but more than half of the one lobe, and T2 is involved both lobes. Then T3 tumor extend through the prostatic capsule, and extracapsular extension unilateral or bilateral is T3A, and tumor invades the seminal vesicles is T3B, and T4 is a locally advanced disease which extends up to the sphincter, rectum or muscles.
So what we see in our setup, that the patient who has got a PSA of less than 10, usually they fall in category of T1. So whether you can find them on a trus biopsy or on a resected specimen for a TURP.
Again, the lymph nodes is regional lymph nodes, the N1.
दो चीजें हैं, TX and T. Tumor cannot be assessed. No evidence of primary tumor. इसमें क्या difference है?
So TX is primary tumor cannot be assessed. Means maybe there is a tumor somewhere else in the body which we have resected. We have done TURP, or there is increased serum PSA, and we're suspicious of serum prostrated CA, but on resection margins on biopsy there is no tumor. So it can be primary tumor cannot be assessed everywhere. You are doing biopsy or X-ray, and no evidence of the primary tumor is when we resect the. We usually see a mass or a nodule in the prostate, and we resect it, but there is no tumor on that mass. Is T0 most likely.
ठीक है, ये सही है, क्लियर है.
Anyone?
T not mean that you are 100% sure that the biopsy specimen there is no
Tumor.
tumor. But in TX you are not sure. Maybe
Yes,
you can miss.
Yes.
That's why they write TX. You have to go again. You have to search the disease.
So
this
these
is the
T0,
difference.
T0, these are the patients who had a raised PSA with negative biopsy. So these are the patients where we usually go for repeat biopsy, or we are just like planning for transperineal biopsies in those patients who had a elevated PSA with the passage of time, even on a repeat PSA, and on biopsy it's negative. So we usually call them T0, and then we again go for biopsy with the transrectal or the transperineal route.
डॉक्टर अभियोला ऐसा ही है, सही है.
So we normally keep this patient on surveillance. And now we are, Dr. Khalik said, planning for the transperineal biopsy. And another thing is saturation biopsy, but we are not still able to do this.
TX and T.
Yes, sir.
इसकी बात हो रही है.
The discussion is almost same.
ठीक है.
So nodal involvement, then again N0 is no regional lymph node metastasis, or N1 is regional lymph node metastasis, and metastasis is M1, 2, again divided into M1A, 1B, and 1C is regional lymph nodes is M1A, to the bones is M1B, and M1C is other sites other than the bones. This is graphical presentation we will discuss. Then on the biopsy we can see a well differentiated, poorly differentiated. Those tumors who are well differentiated have the less carcinoma, can metastasize less with decreased time, and poorly differentiated are high, can have higher surveillance. Then staging of prostatic tumor according to Gleason score grade. If there is a Gleason score on biopsy is 6, and we are they have the grade 1 group, and they have less aggressive, very slow growing and low risk, and biopsy is 3 plus 4 is 7. 3 plus 4, and then difference between 4 plus 3 is a biopsy, which we have two kinds of the well differentiated to poor differentiated, and 3 plus 4 is 7 has a slight aggressive, slow growing and low to moderate risk, and 4 plus 3 7 is a high grade, moderate aggressive, fast growing and intermediate to high risk. And if the Gleason score is 8, these are fall in group 4, very aggressive, rapidly growing, high risk. And if the biopsy score is 9 to 10, these fall in group grade 5, which is highly aggressive, rapidly growing and high risk.
Shakil, how we calculate 3 plus 4 and 4 plus 3 and 4 plus 4?
We do prostate biopsy. We usually see if the all grades, if you are taking 10 course biopsy and all have the same like this, all have the same well differentiated or poor differentiated. If all have the same, then we usually all 10 biopsies, we will multiply with 2. The grade 4, all biopsies have the grade 3, 10 or 10 out of 10, then we multiply 10, 3 plus 3, we usually do 6. And if the biopsy is 10 biopsies, we are doing 10 biopsies, and then 10 biopsies have the one biopsy which have the very poor differentiation, and one have the well differentiated, and other in between. So we usually first we will take the high with poor differentiated if they're more than a 3, and then second is most common.
शौकत सर सही है, बट तुम एक्सप्लेन करो जरा.
जी सर, we combine, we see the biopsy reports as it is written in this slide. We combine the most common and second most common. We combine them. If the biopsy are same, the like most common, if it is more space between gland, or we can say infiltration of cell from glands at margin, it is grade 3. All of them are grade 3. We combine both 3 plus 3. If most common is third one, it is infiltration of cells of gland and margin, and the second most common is 4. We combine it 3 plus 4, the score becomes 3 plus 4, it is 7. Like this we make the score.
It's very important because
yes,
here you can see that 3 plus 4 the slightly aggressive, but if 4 plus 3 it's moderately aggressive.
It's moderate.
So management is different. So it's very important to how you actually read the biopsy.
Yes, sir.
So it's the basically it's the sharing of our histopathology, and histopathologist plays a very important role in the management of prostate
yes,
cancer.
sir. In another ways it come primary, secondary and tertiary grades. And another thing is most aggressive tumors. If it is less than 5% of the resected tissue, then that comes at the first. If it is most aggressive form, then that come at the primary.
And most common comes at second.
And sometimes people also use PSA in the staging. Like we use in testicular cancer, in which the S for serums, some people use PSA for as a staging tool also.
That also, sir, comes in the low risk, intermediate risk, or
yes,
highest risk.
Because
that,
we actually stratify
stratification of
the disease because of this PSA.
Usually DMECO classification that we use for risk stratification in a patient who has got the same number. So it matters that whether it's 3 plus 4 or 4 plus 3. So management is very different. So
yes,
even if it's a 3 plus 4, you can consider for a radical prostatectomy. But if it's a 4 plus 3, then you think about that whether we should go for the radical surgery or something else.
That's why DMECO classification is important. It includes the Gleason score and as well as PSA.
So it includes the PSA and the clinical stage and the
So imaging modalities includes the TRUS. So the first line investigation, easily available, cost effective investigation for the suspected CA prostate, or you can usually we usually do in some patients who have the increased serum PSA, gives a good information about volume, lobe enlargement, and any suspicious localized nodule or abnormal tissue. Small lesions which can be missed on DRE can be identified, and targeted prostate biopsy can be done with the help of transrectal Doppler ultrasound, and biopsy can also be done on the same setting if urine culture is negative and coagulation profile is within normal limits. So we usually also do a urine culture and coagulation profile before sending patient for the biopsy, and if the culture is negative and coagulation profile is normal, then we perform the TRUS guided biopsy. So bone scan, patient with suspected distant metastasis at the prescribed bone scan. Most commonly, bone scan is recommended for the patient with Gleason score more than 8 to 10, stage 3 and 4, and clinical symptomatic patients. Most of the patients which were present late in the OPD with symptoms for more than years, but still comes late and have the already advanced disease with bone pain, we usually prescribe bone scan to see any metastasis in the bone. So again, then multiparametric MRI. MRI is ideal imaging option for very small early detection of the abnormal tissue within the prostate, and patients with increased serum PSA. Very small lesions can be biopsies with the help of MRI. Local invasion to the seminal vesicle, surrounding structures can be made and help in further planning of the tumor treatment. and can help in focused biopsy in localization of the suspected lesions. Already discussed, if we have a localized suspicious lesion on the MRI, so we can target it this localized lesion on with the help of MRI. Then there's a PET scan for prostate cancer. Patients can detect the location, extent of the prostate tumor more helpful in the after initial treatment of detecting recurrence of the disease. So we usually, when patients are present with a CA prostate and we have the intervention of the prostate or after TURP or extension of the radical prostatectomy, and still the serum PSA is raised and we have already removed the prostate, so there is chance that there is some active CA prostate lesions in the body, and which cannot seen in the MRI because MRI gives the artifact after the radical prostatectomy. We go for PET scan to localize these lesions on the operative side or anywhere else in the body. So this is a CA prostate. We can see increased uptake of the lesion. So this is again prostatic surface membrane antigen PET scan. It is a specific PET scan for the detection of the prostate cancer anywhere else in the body. All those patients who went post radical prostatectomy are kept on follow up with the serum PSA. So all the patients who have radical prostatectomy, we usually see or give them or serum PSA after 3 months, 6 months, or whatever. If the PSA is increased after radical prostatectomy, so there is a suspicious of the recurrence of the disease, and some small lesions can be missed by MRI post-operative patients because there is difficult to differentiate between the artifact after surgery and there is a lesion in the MRI. So we usually go for PS and PET scan. Prostate specific membrane antigen imaging should be the PET scan tomography imaging agent of choice for men who have a prostate cancer recurrence after radical prostatectomy, which needs to be detected and locally located. For these men, it should be become a standard of care. Thank you.
पीएसए में और कहाँ करा सकते हैं इसके अलावा?
जी सर,
पीएसए में मतलब जैसे तुमने बोला ना कि वी शुड डू आफ्टर रेडिकल प्रोस्टेटेक्टमी, but we can also use it if we are missing bone metastasis on bone scan or MRI, and if there is a high clinical suspicion of having bone metastasis,
yes, sir.
then we can also do this PMSA scan.
Yes, sir.
So, Shwa, what is the PSA velocity and the PSA doubling time? You heard about it? And what's its significance?
So PSA doubling time is basically the prostate has to increase with the age, the prostate volume. It has a specific value, as far I remember, it was 0.12, something like this, which has to be increased per year annually. But if it is more than this, we consider it as an increased doubling time or something like this.
Yes, Shokat.
Velocity is, sir, basically the absolute increase in PSA over 1 year time. And the PSA doubling time at the time it takes per the PSA to be doubled than the value it was previously.
So it can double in a 3-month period, it can double in a 1 year period.
1 year period.
It's a difference.
No, sir, I'm talking about the velocity. It is the absolute increase in serum PSA annually.
That is the velocity. But
That's
in the
the
doubling
velocity.
time, it's a time.
It's the time when the
at
PSA
which
doubles. It may be
doubles.
3 months, it may be 6 months, it may be 4 months.
So why it's important?
It's important. Velocity shows how is the prostate is increasing in size and the PSA is increased. Doubling time, it shows that how early it is increasing. And if it is increasing in 3 months, it means it has some values because the prostate is increasing in size, like in cases of prostate cancer.
So these two, PSA velocity and the doubling time, is used for the follow-up in those patients who are on active surveillance.
Active surveillance,
Because
yes.
if the patient is kept on active surveillance, the patient is to be monitored regularly with a period, with the PSA velocity and the doubling time.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.